Of course. Why would
We're
she
going
not
live. Click.
click? Why would she not leave the moment we start going live? And then now she's gonna come back in while we do the intro video, and it's gonna be like, "What? What's going on?" Boy.
Oh, we're live. That's
It's,
right.
oh, we're
Yep.
live.
Yep.
And I'm out of here. Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With nary signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
With Missy.
Just let me finish my thought before you fucking interrupt me. Wrong room to ask questions.
Welcome to the party, pal!
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right, and we're live. We're live and recording, whichever one you're doing. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to listen to people talk, debate, and argue over shit they may not know anything about. I am your host,
Or
Nary
do
Signs.
sometimes we do.
I said sometimes, but sometimes we don't know nothing. I said sometimes we don't know anything about. I am your host, Nary Signs. That person who just interrupted me for the umpteenth time is Mike Mercadal.
It's never gonna stop. Also, according to the Facebook captions, my name is Mark Markadal. So,
well, that's what happens when you make this shit up. When you wake up in the morning. Sorry. That's what
no.
happens.
The not the test. The audio detection captions that they have now for the hard of hearing. Mark Markadal.
Okay, Mark Markadal. And we have a special guest today. We have joining the show for the first time. Hopefully, many more. We'll see how it goes. We don't know yet. Is local Miami comedian Grace Victoria.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi.
Grace.
Thank you for having me.
If I was at home, I would have my soundboard and I would do little applauses. But
I
I'm
was
not at home,
I was going to
so I
say
don't have my soundboard with me.
It's my first applause break at the beginning of a show.
They're just welcoming you. We're just welcoming you onto the stage with applause. We have no idea whether you're good or not yet. We're just like, we're hopeful.
Neither do I.
Isn't that weird?
Find out together.
But isn't that weird? That's how comedy is. They're like, give a round of applause. Like, we don't know this person. Why are we applauding them?
Well, for
getting to the stage? Is that what we're doing? We're just applauding them for just walking to the stage?
Yes, successfully and not falling.
Like, talk. And then they get mad. And then that's what happens 30 years ago. That's how it started 30 years ago. And then they get mad when 30 years later, we are in a generation where we give participation trophies. This is what happens.
That's what you get for clapping.
You did it to us. You did it to us. You're the one that was like, oh, applause.
Me?
I like the fact. No, I talk about the audience in general. They've been trained, and then we get mad at them when they give us no energy. Really, you're not gonna clap until I get to the microphone? Really?
You know who I hate? The I can't hear you guy, or the come on, we can do better than that guy, or like, hey everybody, how we doing tonight?
That's who I am.
You seem like that guy. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm two out of those three guys.
But not in a comedy show. I'm talking about a business meeting. One of these.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like a school assembly. Like, hey everybody, how we doing tonight? Come on, we can do better than that. We're like, no, we don't want to do better than that. You haven't earned it yet.
Yes. Okay, I agree with you then. I agree with you.
Yeah, if it's a work situation, it's like this could have been an email. Like that's we used to scream that. I used to think that every 2 minutes, this could have been an email.
How many times have you been fired now, Larry? How many times have you been fired?
I've technically only got fired once, technically, and that was because I got quitted. It was one of those.
Oh, you got quitted.
It's one of those. I was acting yeah, I was acting a fool and I didn't want to be there anymore. And they're like, you're fired. I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. No, that's not
Gotcha.
true. I just remembered I worked at a yeah. So no, I've been fired 3 times. I forgot. I'm sorry.
No way. No
Because
way.
two of them, okay, so the two of them were just like part-time jobs in between like gigs, and I was like, oh, I'll do it. Like, and I was literally working at a lawyer's office for like 2 weeks, and I didn't know what I was doing, and they threw me in, and it was like, and I had to fill out like forms, and it's like, if when you get this, you have to send out a form for this, and you have to send out a form for that, and I was really under, like,
Trained.
I
Qualified?
shouldn't have, yeah, way underqualified. I should never have been given that job. It's like, it was very close to paralegal work, and by that I mean the fact that there were
Just
legal
pushing
terms that I had
paper.
no
Okay.
idea. Yeah, it was just like, if this person gets in an accident, then you got to fill out form A, B, and then you got, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. So
Oh,
like
are people's
2 weeks
lives at
into it,
stake with this paperwork?
I
It's
don't know
good
about
to
people's
leave me with the
lives, but
minimal training as possible.
yeah,
Just
yeah. It was definitely people's financial livelihood.
lives.
That
Yeah.
that was the
Wow.
thing. And I remember like it was maybe 3 weeks, and they were like, "Yeah, you're not cutting it." And I this is what I said. They were like, "Yeah, you're not really working out." And I go, "I agree. This is very difficult, and you should hire somebody that has qualification." Like there was nothing in my
Or
resume. I
just
didn't lie in my resume.
hire
Like
someone
there
with no
was
life that can do this
yeah, there
for a
was
full-time job.
nothing in my resume that said, you know what, he this sounds. Oh, what have you been doing comedy for the last 5 years? Yeah, I think you'd be good for a paralegal work. Like what? No, that's not good. That's not
Grace,
good.
how many times have you been fired, and name the places? Go. No,
I I've never been fired
you've
Yeah.
never
till
been
this day.
fired. Have
Till
you
this day.
have you ever done the "fuck you, I'm out" like quit on the spot?
I've quit because I've had another job. I'm pretty loyal to my employers. Yeah.
Yeah, until you find somebody else to be loyal to. That's not. I don't know. That's loyalty.
I mean, I give a 2 weeks notice. I'm loyal until I'm
Oh,
not
that
loyal.
you're a
Okay. That's
professional.
how it
You're a
works.
professional.
That's of
You're a prof-
course.
There's a big trend
Actually,
now.
Grace has a big girl job. Grace is like legit, like actual,
Don't
like has
say
a
it on the
degree.
show because
No,
this
she
show
doesn't have
will
to
get
say
you
that.
fired.
She doesn't have to say the name of the place, but she is like, she's gone to school. She has a degree. Like, there's a whole thing, right? Can you say? Do you want to
Yes,
say
no,
it? I
I'm
don't
a
know if you want.
speech language pathologist.
A speech
Yeah.
language pathology. All right, so you're better than us. Okay, we get it. So
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but you
no,
did,
no, it's
so
true.
that's
No, I
fine.
brought it
That's
up.
fine.
I brought it up because I'm like, I know the guests that I bring to this show are way better than me. So that's what I do.
They
That's
round
like,
you round
I
up.
don't.
Nary,
I
Nary.
don't bring people who are lower than me to the show. I bring people who fucking bring the show up by
Okay, so
default.
you're fired. Okay. You're fired.
So wait, so you never quit a job. There's a big trend now in with all of the current, employee shortage, all of that
Yeah.
bullshit that these big companies are spreading about. Like, there's nobody wants to work anymore. That they say don't give 2 weeks notice. There's no benefit to giving 2 weeks notice because it's not like references matter anyway. If you quit in any reasonable way, they're still going to like there's still no like
Shit on you.
upside. Yeah, there's still no
Well,
upside to
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well,
So
I mean, severance, are they entitled to give that to you? I mean, Florida's just one of those states where, it's they could just
yeah,
fire you for no reason, right? So,
the right to work
they
state.
don't
Yeah.
have to, right? They don't have to give you paid vacation or anything like that, paid sick days. So, I like to leave on a good note,
What
just
a
because
nightmare.
no, you never know. You burn a bridge and then you never know. They might be at your next comedy show not laughing. So then
Yeah,
I need these people to buy tickets.
Mike has gotten fired for putting his balls on things. So
No,
that's
that's not. She doesn't get the joke.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
it
I
was
don't.
it was I got fired because someone thought they took a joke post seriously and were like,
Yeah.
I put my
He
balls on
said
everything.
my boss
So
is not here
you went
today.
in.
He said my boss isn't here
My
today,
balls
so
are
I
not
guess it's
here.
time. He said my boss is not here today, so I guess it's time to put my balls on everything again.
You went in balls deep, didn't you? That's
Yes.
And
fucking.
then
Oh,
and then his
are we not
boss
supposed
saw
to use that
that
on the air?
and fired him for that,
Oh no.
which
He fired me. But then that wasn't the problem. Look, he should have fired me. I was fucking around and I didn't like that job and I was bad. Like I was good at the job,
got
but I
quitted.
didn't give a
You got
fuck.
quitted.
Yeah, I got
you got
quitted.
quitted.
And he should have fired me. What made me mad was that he was challenging unemployment and wasn't going to let me get Cobra. Like he was doing all
That's
of
what I'm
that
saying. Yeah.
post, like the Burning Bridge stuff, when I
Right.
was like, over a fit, get the fuck out of here,
No.
buddy. And then I
Easy.
challenged him in court and all that stuff. And I had
Over
to
a
end up
what?
it was on Facebook that I posted it. It's still
Oh.
up. I think you can
And
go
what
back
did you
and see it.
do? What did you do at that time for a living?
I worked at a doctor's office, so it was like, but it was like obviously a joke, and it was private. But I found out.
What
love
was
the
the
fact that you said
comment?
it.
What was the
I love
comment?
the fact that you said it. I love the fact that
And
you
I
said
put
it
my
was
balls on it.
obviously a joke. The fact that you said it was
Yeah.
obviously a joke. Like, what? That's not obvious. That's not obvious. That's. I
Uh,
mean,
Yes, me saying my bosses are on vacation, time to put my balls on everything. Hashtag the usual is not a real like. And they knew I was a comedian. They came to one of my shows. They laughed. They
Oh,
were
you're a
super
comedian?
supportive.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's also a thing that is that is true about me. But like they knew I like when I was moved to New York to do comedy, and I was doing stand up while I was working there, and they were like, "Oh, let's come check you out." And I told jokes about the office. They were real pieces of shit though. I mean, like they were bad people, but they were like supportive of the thing because it made me interesting to them, and they put it on the website and everything that I'm a comedian. And then when I did that whole thing, it was like he just said, "Oh well, it shows that you were, like posting on the job and all that stuff." And I was like, "Well, I was on my break or whatever, so fuck you." But whatever. The point being is that he was like, "Oh, we're gonna ruin your life, like without unemployment." He was like, "And don't think you're gonna file for unemployment because it costs him money."
Yeah.
So that was really all it was.
Wow.
But it wasn't necessarily like I had to go to court, and a judge asked me if I put my balls on things, and I had to like in court be like, "No, Your Honor,
I did
there
not
is,
put
there
my balls on
are,
it.
there are official court documents. A stenographer had to type that.
Yeah.
Do you
I
put your
cannot. That is
balls on?
crazy.
Somewhere in
That is
a
public record. That is public
Department
record.
of Labor, New York City Department of Labor hearing. There's some written form where I have to know, Your Honor, I did not pull. Mr. Mercadal, did you put your balls on it? That was like when she was already fed up with everything. She was like, "Well, did you put your balls on it?" I was like, "No."
Is this your
All right, get
girlfriend
outta
or
here.
a judge? Who are we really talking about here? Like,
It was look, thank you, Judge. She got me thousands of dollars in back unemployment. So salute to you, New York City judge. I love you so much.
Didn't you go to Japan with that money? You went to Japan.
No, I paid my rent with that money. That was when I
Oh my
was.
No, it's just
Yeah.
a joke, man. It's just a joke. Now I gotta go to court for the defend this
right?
fucking joke.
Oh,
too, but I gotta go.
exactly. He's gonna go pro se. Like,
Your
fuck
Honor,
that.
he said that he went to Japan when indeed he paid for his rent. It's like, oh my god, okay.
That was a weird time. That was like also a time when my ex fiance was living up here, and then I got quitted, and then it was like, I know you just moved up
Oh.
here for us to start our lives together, but also what the fuck? Yeah, I lost my job, and it was
Yeah.
a tricky situation.
Tricky. Are you married
Wait,
now?
I don't know.
Yes, I am married now. I just got married
He
in February.
just got married.
Yeah.
Oh,
Courtroom, no shenanigans. Went to the courthouse, got married, and
He had if you've ever seen Office Space, and when
Yeah.
they go, oh, you need 17 pieces of flair, he had the exact opposite wedding. He had no flair on his, and it was just
We were-
like no.
New York
was-
City was
I
our
think it was
flair,
great,
baby.
man.
We literally got married in the courthouse, and then we had a friend of my wife's to follow us around, and then they were all super eager taking pictures and stuff like that. We got a million pictures all over the Brooklyn Bridge. We went on the New York, like a new water taxi with the city in the background. We did it great. I mean, it was the best. It could not have gone any better. And then afterwards, we ate arepas and shit. It was awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was great. Happy wedding happy wedding day to me. It was dope.
What was the best part? Arepas. Yeah,
Arepas,
definitely
bro.
arepa.
It was definitely the arepas.
Yeah. You got holy matrimony, loved one, whatever, soulmate. But the arepas, holy
Yeah.
shit, that was the jam.
Are you Colombian or where are you?
No, I'm Cuban. My wife is Venezuelan.
Okay, yeah, that's where the arepas come from. Got it.
But
okay.
realistically,
Well, the arepas come from a cart in New York from a guy who's selling them on the side.
No,
of the
we
street.
went to we did the hot dog cart.
Those are hot dogs. Okay, I'm just gonna say that.
But they have arepas
Mary's
too.
not. Yeah.
They have everything. Every once in a while,
Wait. Have you never had an arepa from an arepa cart? Like from like
not in New
basically a hot-
York. No,
I've had them in
that's where
Miami, so I'm assuming New York would have them as well. Like
Well,
In New-
maybe now, but not when I was born. Not when I grew up there.
You grew up in New York? What part?
The Bronx.
Okay. The Bronx
Yeah.
is still real New York. I like the Bronx is
Is
fighting
there-
gentrification tooth and nail. Like no one wants to move to the Bronx. It's the only place that still has cheap rent because nobody wants to move. Nobody wants to like develop.
When I went to a friend's wedding there like 10 years ago,
Mm.
and it was in the Bronx, and I remember getting a haircut there. That this
I
is
thought
how
you were
long
gonna
ago
say
it was.
getting a hand job there. I was like,
No,
what
no,
is
we don't.
going on?
No, that story's not told on the podcast. So I was, so I got a haircut. That's how long ago it was that I actually had hair. So I had I got a
I was
haircut.
about to say this sounds.
It was a while ago. This is probably, if I'm being realistic with myself, I'm thinking about it, it's 12, 13 years ago. I mean, I could text her and be like, "Hey, how long have you been married?" And so I went to this wedding,
No, yo te
and
mato.
I was the only one, the only person I knew at the wedding was the bride. And it was very awkward because she was a good friend of mine, but she was the only one I knew, and I knew her family, but like barely. Like it was one of those things where like I kind of like, hey, hi, I buyed you one time, whatever. And so I went there, and I was in a city that I didn't know, that nobody I even knew had moved there yet, and I went to this wedding. And then I went to the concierge, and I'm like, where's there a barbershop? And they're like, oh, just down the street, like 2 blocks. And I'm like, great. I went to go get a haircut. And this is like 13 years ago. Guy finishes my haircut. I give him a 20, and he goes, yeah, it's 25. And I go, what the? Like, I was shooketh at the fact that 13 years ago, a haircut, a fade cost $25. I give him a 20 thinking that it costs like 15. Because back in Miami, it costs
Depends
10.
on where you go. I go
back
to a
in Miami,
place.
it costs 10. So I
Yeah.
give him 50. I give him a 20, thinking it costs 15. Like, hey man, here's a $5 tip because I'm fucking balling. And he gets 25, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to the ATM. Excuse me, sir, please.
I do not carry more than $20 on me at all.
Just
At
put
any
a little
given
bit of the
moment.
hair back. And
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
Whatever.
It depends on where you
Fine,
go.
just
If you
fill in the patch, it's fine.
if you go to the young Dominican place or the old Dominican place, because I go to the old Dominican barber and they're still good. Your Dominican, Grace?
Of course.
Yeah, the old Dominican barber
Yeah,
shop.
she's from the Bronx. Did you not fucking hear her?
The Bronx has Puerto Ricans too. You can't
It's a
mix
joke,
them up.
man. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus, are you gonna correct every joke I make? God, jeez.
I don't know. Make them better. So the
Oh, shots fired!
I mean,
do you guys need me
no,
here? Because
no.
I could.
There's my
Grace,
reply. No, I will
this
not
is
make them
couples
better.
therapy, and you're the therapist now. Go.
Yes, I'm the mediator.
No.
Okay.
But I didn't want to call you Puerto. God forbid you get.
Well, no one can
that
tell
wrong.
the difference. No one can tell the difference.
I can.
It's a bit I have. That's great.
I do
It's a
think
good
that
bit.
New York, New York is more important.
The J-Lo bit.
The J-Lo bit.
Yeah, it's a good bit. It's a good bit.
I always love to hear other comedians tell another comedian's joke. What is her J-Lo bit?
Oh, I'm not doing that. But she basically already said it. She talked about that white guys call J-Lo because they see her and they see a Hispanic with a big butt, and they all assume that all Latinas are J-Lo. And like, no, there's different kinds of Latinas. I'm giving the general explanation of the joke. I'm not giving you I'm not performing her joke. She doesn't
perform the joke.
Yeah, but the kicker is that even though no one can tell the difference between Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, everyone else thinks that we're Mexican, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Right. So that's kind of like the gist of it.
Correct.
I blow up people's minds when I do go to the barbershop when I start speaking in Spanish because they don't know they don't know what box to put me in, so they're like white guy, and then I'm like, speaking to them in Spanish, and you see like that slow, like what, like what is happening, and I'm like, yeah, just talking to you in Spanish. It happens in the hospital. I work in a hospital. It also happens in the hospital with the Dominicans and all of a sudden I caught a bunch of the housekeeping ladies talking about me, and then I was like, "Ten cuidado, quien te entiende," and then they were all like, pale, ghost white, because they were saying shit about me, and I was like,
Sammy Sosa, yeah, okay.
Yes, they went full Sammy Sosas, and all
I
of
like
their
to put
coloring.
It was a low hanging joke.
All of the
I
coloring.
like cream.
Speaking of putting balls on everything, low hanging.
Right.
We got to keep it all mashed together.
Full circle.
Yolanda says, burn.
Yeah, I am.
I'm assuming that she means on the balls. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a cream for that. I'm sure there's a cream for that.
The whole point is that I'm going to challenge everything you say now because it worked once.
It worked one time.
Got it.
No, I got to do a callback. It's called a callback, Neri. Yeah.
So are you guys a duo? Like, you guys always do this podcast together?
we started it together, but
We started it together 10 years ago, and
Oh
then
my
Mike
God.
left to New York because I want to be a better person.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
then he left,
And then became a
then
worse person in New York.
yeah,
And
oh,
then
for sure. And then years later, the pandemic happened, and then I kept on doing it. It was all audio. And then the
Yeah.
pandemic happened, so we couldn't meet up physically. So we started doing it via Zoom. And then I found this new thing here where you're experiencing StreamYard, which lets us live stream it, not just Zoom it, but live stream it. And then that was like, "Hey, Mike, we should do the podcast again," because we had a lot of fun
Yeah.
when we first started it. And then Mike was like, "I want to do it again." So yeah,
Yeah, because with like after like when COVID hit and all of a sudden everyone learned what Zoom was, like everyone had to
I
start.
legitimately believed. I swear to God, I thought that Zoom started because of COVID. Like that's how I did
no, if
not.
you're
That's
in
how
the
much I
medical
did not
field, you
know.
know that telehealth
Yeah,
exists.
that's how
No.
much I did not know that Zoom as an app, the application of Zoom, I did not know that even existed until COVID. So I thought, oh, this was created because of the pandemic. I was like, oh, this must have been something, or maybe I thought this was an app that had previously existed, but it was only used in certain.
So you're
like
pretty much
Twitter,
saying you're really old. You're really old. We know that.
Twitter
We know
used
that.
to be a thing. Like Twitter was a thing for web developers. Like that it existed long before it became a social media platform. It was a way
Twitter
of
started as a microblog, so it was like that 140 characters
correct.
that you could text before smartphones. That you could text your post. You could
Right.
there was a number that you could text it to, and then it would post your tweet. That's how old Twitter is. That it was pre-smartphones, and then it just kind of developed into that.
So
sort of
that's what I thought Zoom was. I thought Zoom was
Yeah.
this thing that only a
How
niche group of
bad-
people use. And
How bad did Skype drop the ball that they had Skype and we still call it Skyping, but nobody uses Skype at all?
Oh,
Not one person uses it. They dropped they were years ahead of the game and they fucked up so bad.
It's the Blockbuster of fucking.
It is absolutely the Blockbuster.
Yeah, so terrible. So terrible. They had the technology.
I feel bad for them because I liked Skype, but it just never
Microsoft
worked.
bought them.
Were they bought?
just
I was
never
gonna say, were
worked.
they bought out? Yeah.
Microsoft bought them. But the truth is,
it was the calls would always fall. It was always glitchy. Like I think they were too ahead of their time in the sense of like the technology had to cut up with what they were trying to do.
But it was still kind of like a dial-up thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird. They had dial-up for like it was weird. It was weird. It doesn't matter.
The whole point of we at one point, like even before Zoom, before this, I was calling in every now and again we would do it over the phone, and that sounded like ass. It was terrible.
Oh, it sounded awful.
It sounded awful. But the fact that this now is as good as it is, and all you need is like headphones and a microphone, and even you sound good when you're using, I'm assuming, your phone, and it's fine. The fact that the technology caught up with it, then we started doing all of this again, and then we have. Because everyone's kind of stuck at home. How many podcasts did we start? There's
What's Up, Bro?
Yeah.
That you and I personally have started.
That you and I are on. We have not that we started, but that word.
Oh, What's Up, Bro? Kickflix. Geek More. Which I'm gonna put an end to soon. And then I don't know. There's a bunch of other ones. We did seasons. Did we do seasons together? I don't know. If we did
I don't think we did seasons together, but yeah. Then I had everyone suddenly was like, "Oh, let's record every interaction we have at all times." You know what I mean? Like you can never.
Grace is like that. Grace is like that. We've taken long road trips to gigs, Grace and I, and she'll be like, "This is great. I'm gonna start," and she'll just put her phone to record, like not video, just audio. She's like, "This is," and I'm like, "Okay." Like I was like, "We're just having a normal conversation." She's like, "This is great. This is hilarious.
I mean,
just keep it going."
It's being recorded for security purposes,
Right? Yeah. For training purposes. Like when they always say that this call is being recorded for training purposes. Like who's listening to this and learning something?
Yeah, it's like ASMR for me. That's what it is.
The white noise of the car driving and someone
is like Neri talking puts her to sleep. She's like, I need to go to sleep.
Yeah,
I need to go to sleep and I can't go to sleep. Let's put that conversation that I had with Neri on the other day.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Let's. Okay. we have to talk. I have to do this every show. We have to read the title of the post that Neri posted so that we make sure we talk about it. Otherwise, it drives me crazy. We welcome Miami comedian Grace Victoria to talk comedy, life, favorite things to eat, and more. I'm going to Miami on Wednesday for my friend's wedding. And
Okay.
I have been up here for so long that all of the restaurants have changed. What is a good you know what I mean? Like, what is the new hot restaurant that everybody goes to eat at that I have to try when I come down there?
Have you been to Amelia's yet? I mean, it's not really new, but it's
new to. I've been up here 9 years.
It's new to
almost.
you. It's new to you. So, have you been to Amelia's?
I'm gonna write that motherfucker down.
Amelia's. I mean, it's
where are
pricey.
you staying?
It's pricey.
Doesn't really matter.
Kendall.
Yeah, everyone. Amelia's.
You're saying Kendall? What's a good place? Wow.
Amelia's, by the way, has 2 different restaurants. It's Chef Adrian's.
So there's like
and
Chef
Amelia
Adrian's very
is
good.
one, and Chef Adrian's is the other one.
Amelia's
is very good.
1931. That's what it's called.
Yeah. There's 2 different ones. It's Chef Adrian's, and then there's Amelia's Kitchen or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's the same. It's run by the same chef, and she is phenomenally talented. Back when that's actually the last meal that I had before I went on no carbs, no sugar. Almost a year ago, it was at Chef Adrian's, and it was like mouth watering. It was amazing, and I remember saying, "I'm never gonna be able to eat this again."
Like
it was amazing.
And it will be deleted from my mind as it will not exist because this is God damn. It looks great. Cuban, Korean, Peruvian is what it's listed as.
And then they have the what is it?
KYU.
KYU.
Very good. It's in Wynwood.
We call
There's
that
a lot of spots in Wynwood.
And
then there's have you been to because I know you visited a few times throughout the years, but have you been to Finca?
That's in Kendall.
That's in Kendall.
Why does that
sound really
familiar?
good? FINKA.
KA. Very good. Very good. Highly recommend.
So good. Yeah. That's my go-to as far as like when I want to get away from the chain restaurants and I want to go. That's my goal. But I'm not a restaurant. I'm not like I'm very
he's not
hacky.
bougie.
I'm very hacky when it comes to like going out and like I'll have
chicken fingers.
Yeah, no, but like just take me to Chili's and a movie, and I'm fucking happy as a pig and shit. Like I'm just like, yeah, this is great. And people are like, oh, like I have friends who refuse to go to chain restaurants, and I'm like, oh, give up. Like I'm not opposed to going to like mom and pop shops or like boutique. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just like, okay, I'll whatever. Like my default is to go to chain restaurants.
It's because you're basic. No, I mean that like that.
Legit.
It's true.
I'm so happy about it.
There's nothing wrong with being basic. It's literally
you're just basic. You're just basic. That's it.
But basic is good. The reason why people think something is basic is because it's popular. It's something that everyone. Yeah, we just do it. We go to fucking Chili's and it's easy. There's nothing I hate more than when someone tries to tell me to, oh, you got to try this place out. There's no sign. It's impossible to find. You have to make reservations through hieroglyphics, and then you have to send a like no.
There's no prices. There's no prices, and
that's what Pinolandia is.
And they only accept crypto.
No signs.
What is that?
Pinolandia. It's a fritanga. There's no signs. It looks like it's closed. There's a crazy amount of construction happening. You're like, is there anyone here? But they're open 24 hours, which is wild.
So Grace was telling me about this the other day. She was like, "Oh, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about." And she was like, "You've never heard of that?" And she gets mad at me because I'm Nicaraguense, so I have to know apparently of all the fritanga. Like, they have to run it by me whenever they open up a new fritanga apparently. And I'm like, no, I don't know. I didn't know this existed. How do you know this not exist? I'm like, I don't know. They didn't run it by me. They never was like, hey, Neri, is it all right if we open up a new fritanga? And this, I'm like, okay. But when she told me about it, she showed me like pictures that she took that night that she went with her friend or whatever, and I was like, man, that food does look good though. It does look good. So
that's one thing that I think New York is lacking in is fritanga. Like I cannot find like the fritanga I know and love. Yeah. From going to Sweetwater and all the Nicas living in the same area, needing a place to go buy food. There's just not that here. Even Cuban food is hard to find. Like that hasn't become like where it's not the home cooking, it's like treated as a foreign food. So like if you go to like,
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm talking about? Like if you go to like y la canaria or la carreta or whatever, like it's just made in giant vats. It costs pennies to make, and I know how cheap it is to make. But here, it's like in some fancy Manhattan place where they charge you like $20 for a masa de puerco, and you're like, get the fuck out of here. That shit costs pennies.
I can get
made
that rey de las fritas for
I could get it by the pound. Do you have any how many pounds of this I can get for $20?
I know.
So like I like.
But you have to level up. You have to level up. You have to level up.
That's what finca is. Finca is a
Korean barbecue.
It's Korean Cuban fusion. Yeah, it's Cuban Korean fusion, and it's like it's legitimately really good.
The Koreans are really good getting themselves out there. Whoever's marketing Korean food is kicking ass.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's Korean people.
Another Korean, yeah.
Or is it Korean?
I think it's the opposite. I think it's.
You think it's Japanese? You think Japanese people are like, you know what? I'm tired of being so fucking popular. Let's start pushing Koreans food. Like, is that what you think is happening?
It's
or
it's
Irish.
appropriation.
It's the Irish people. It's the Irish people going like, you know who has good food? It's the Koreans.
Some Cuban motherfucker who's like, what's this called? Bok choy. Yep, that's going on my fucking whatever this is, and now it's a Korean fusion because they discovered a new jar in an aisle of the supermarket.
I like Yolanda's shade. I just make my own Cuban treats. I like.
She does actually. She made last time I was there. She made fucking pastelito de olla, and I was. Yes, you see the noises. She makes it not. It's not exactly the same, but it's.
I felt my sugar rising. I'm just like, what is happening right now? Okay.
My body preemptively started making insulin, and now I need a nap.
Yeah.
9 weeks, baby. In 9 weeks, I'll be able to have one of those. Yolanda, hit me up. 9 weeks from now.
What?
Oh my god, I want to be there, Neri.
That's like an event.
I want to record the moment.
Well, you know it's funny because in 9 weeks it'll be exactly 52 weeks since I've had no carbs or sugar or refined carbs. I gotta always say that because there's always people that go, really, you never had any carb? You know, lettuce has carb. I'm like, okay, bro.
But he's been super feisty because I tried to take a bite one time out of his whatever.
All right, so we go. Wait.
We're
going on a 2-hour road trip. We're going on a 2-hour road trip, and by 2 hours I mean 2 hours each way. Okay, she knows she's going on a road trip because A, she's been booked prior, and B, she drove to my house so then we could both drive together. She drives, and did she pack any snacks? No. No. And so what did she decide to do? She just picked up my fucking cookie and was like,
a typical girl move. Like, I'm not hungry, but can I have a piece?
That is standard girl.
You know what she did? You know what she did?
Girl shit.
First, what she did was this is what she then first started implanting the thought in my head, or trying to. She was like, man, I'm really hungry. And I'm like, I brought my snacks. I brought a protein shake. I brought a protein cookie. I got my shit together. I know what the fuck I'm doing. And then like an hour later, she's like, I'm really, really hungry. And I'm like, yeah, we can't stop because we got to go to the show. And she's like, oh, you have snacks here? And I'm like, for me. Yeah.
Literally, he said for me. I wanted to jump out of the car.
And then she waited another half hour, and then she's like, "No, I need a fucking piece of cookie. Give me a fucking piece of cookie."
And then I ate it and regretted it immediately.
It was awful. I even told you it doesn't taste good. It's a protein cookie. It's not supposed. I'm like,
it's your diet cookie shit. It's your diet shit. It's never.
I did teach you how to open it.
It's true. She did. I was like, yeah, fine, take a piece. And then she opened it in a different way. And I was like, that's not the way I normally. And then what'd you say? 200 and was it? What was it?
250 ways to wash dishes.
She goes, there's
250 ways to wash dishes.
She goes, I go, that's not the way I normally open the but go ahead, fine. And then she goes,
I know, he's thinking about it.
And then I was like,
I'm trying to. What'd you say, Neri? I froze. I'm frozen.
No, it's probably me. It's my Wi-Fi. I'm on a cruise ship. But yeah, no, I was trying. When she said that to me, it made such perfect sense. Not that the 250 ways, because I also started thinking about the different ways of washing dishes. But I was like, oh, that does make it. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters the end result is what really matters. So that I learned that from Grace. I was like, oh, that is true. So I think about that to this day. Instead of like doing something the same way every time, I'm like, you know what? There's 250 ways to wash dishes.
Or fighting with someone and telling them that's not the way you do it. You can't.
It's hard for me.
I didn't really fight. I just made the statement. That's not the way I normally open my cookie. And then she was
Yeah,
like,
because you opened it and all the crumbs came out, and I was like, "This is not."
Oh
There's
my
gotta
god,
be a
like
better way. There's
those
gotta be a better
Nature's
way.
Own granola bars that
Yep.
it's crumbs fucking everywhere. Where like
Yeah.
you can do it the neatest way, hermetically sealed little thing, and the
Yeah.
second like it crumbles and there's like fucking dust everywhere.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
That is so it's funny you guys mentioned that because I've been doing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stuff because there's like a whole internet culture of streaming Dungeons and Dragons and playing Dungeons and Dragons, all this stuff. And I'm into that sort of thing. One of the big things that's happening right now is that a lot of people who are traditionalists of like, that's not how you play the game. And then there's other people who are like, you know, having inclusivity of like disabled people, like if like oh, it's impossible to have a wheelchair in Dungeons and Dragons. It's like it's a fucking Dungeons and Dragons game. It's got dragons in it. It's a fantasy game. Let people have a wheelchair if that's how they identify in their character. And then there's a whole bunch of people who are like, no, you're playing wrong. That's not how you're supposed to play. And then it becomes this thing of like, does it really matter how you do something if the person who's doing it is enjoying, even if it's better, even if like your way would be better, is it worth the fight? And that's like, there's just like this weird
Is it worth
divide.
just not having another friend? You know what I mean? Or losing. Or
I think
like
it is
a
worth the
playmate.
fight.
Yeah,
I think it is worth the fight.
You're like, fuck you, I'm fighting.
Yeah.
I agree with both schools of thought. I agree that everybody you should learn how to do things different ways, but also, you know, put up a fight. You know, like it just
Sure,
when
but
your
you're
friend
playing.
when your friend is starving and doesn't have the foresight to fucking pack a snack, I think it's good to be like, no, get your own cookie. Also, let me judge you on how you open my cookie.
It's a losing battle if a girl is hungry. Honestly, like we could have just driven off right off the road. You know,
That reminds me
of
in all fairness, Grace did last like an extra hour after she told me. She's like, man, I'm hungry and I didn't pack any snacks. I'm like, I packed mine. Like I was legit. Like I don't give a fuck, man. These are my snacks. To a fault, by the way, because that happened a few months later. After that happened between you and I, Grace, a few months later, my in-laws came over and my father-in-law was like, hey, are these yours? And he's like, and it's these protein chips, right? And I was like, yeah, those are my diet food and they're like $5 a bag. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he proceeded to continue to try to open it. And I was like, what do you, and
that's
then
not how you open it.
And again, what
how
I'm
do you
about
open
to
it?
say,
By not opening it, motherfuckers. Stop.
What I'm about to say, I'm not proud of at all. In fact, I'm very embarrassed. But this is, and I don't get embarrassed easily. But this is something that I actually said. I go, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "What?" I go, "Don't eat that." And I said, "Don't eat that." And I said, I was like, "Oh," and I go, "No, you can have some if you want." Like I felt really bad because he's my father-in-law, man. He's done a lot for me, you know. Like and I'm just like, but it's my diet food. Like I have very limited things I can eat. Like don't,
Yeah.
please
I understand.
don't.
It's totally
like,
understandable for you not to want.
it's understandable. I told my wife when she got home, and I was like, so it's understandable, but it was also like not kosher. Like, no, dude, you can't. You know, he's a visitor in your house. He's a guest in your house. You should really just shut the fuck up. And
was there other food for him to eat?
Oh, gallons. Oh, like there's mountains of
yeah,
food.
but it's
I'm
forbidden.
sorry.
It's the forbidden part, guys. Come on. You know.
No. I do. Here's the thing, because like at a certain point, your food is like that specialty diet food of yours. It's like saying that this is my diabetic food, right? And I cannot. Right. This is my medical food. I can only eat this diabetic food. And then someone starts eating your diabetic food, and you're like, I don't have any more of that in the house, but there's all of this other stuff that you are able to eat that I am not. So please, you know, you're well within your rights to have said whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, I'm not saying that I wasn't.
I wasn't like, fuck off, Dad, and punch him.
I'm not saying that I want to like, and that's the thing that my wife, my mother-in-law, everybody laughed about it later because of how embarrassed I was. But they all acknowledged that I was within my right and it was understandable where I was coming from. But I also acknowledged that that's just not the way I was raised. Like that's not like, you know what I mean? Like somebody's older than you and they're a guest in your house, you offer them, you know what I mean? If they want to eat your fucking snacks.
Fuck them. Fuck those old people. Fuck kids and fuck old people. If you don't
OMG.
Yeah, fuck them all. No, that's fuck them kids is like a long running
No, it's
thing.
always. I mean, it's everyone.
But
uses
it's
it,
true. He was well within his right with. Hey, look, if you pay for something, he was well within his right to tell you to fuck off. You know what I mean?
He was wanting to be like, how about I fucking just fix your whatever the fuck, insert whatever one of many things that he's fixed around the house, whatever. But I felt bad. I did feel bad about it. But I know that I think I should have chosen a different way of saying it.
Oh
Like, hey,
no,
do you
I meant
mind if
that
you get something else?
I meant that you had every right to tell Grace to in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, nah.
Oh, I
you,
did.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't
There's
say
nothing wrong
fuck you,
with
but I did say.
You
I
felt
brought my
it though,
food.
right? You felt
I
it.
brought-
The fuck you.
Yeah,
You
no,
sensed
yeah,
it?
seriously. I was like, this guy's gonna make. But good thing that Off the Hook has amazing food, and we get a free dinner
Yes.
with it. So
Yeah.
Off
I
the
went
Hook is
ham
pretty good.
on that CBD ahi tuna and Brussels sprouts and the whole thing. It was fine. They fed me there.
Put my
Yeah,
dad's
I was so jealous of your Brussels sprouts.
My dad's like,
Tony says, "Hey, I'm old."
yeah, fuck you, old man.
Ah!
No, Dad, I love you. You're one of the old people that gets to
Yeah.
live, I guess. Or
No, but he's
I
not.
don't know.
He's not like a regular dad. He's a cool dad.
He's a cool dad. No, but like I am a firm believer of that. There's a way to it reminds me of, remember that 70s show when it's like Kelso and Jackie and she's like, Kelso, I'm cold. And he's like, I can't control the weather, Jackie. Like, like rather than give him her his jacket.
Yeah, there are 250 ways to say no.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you should be nicer. Is what the point is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. But it's so funny because I'm one of those guys that I have said this before many times on the show, but I'm a sucker for good advertisement. So I'll buy shit off Instagram. Like I'm like the algorithm is really on tact with me. So I'll try different protein things and like, oh, you're into keto shit? We're gonna throw keto shit at you,
Right.
And I now have I now eat a protein cookie from a different company, and I texted Grace and I was like, hey, by the way, I don't eat the bad ones anymore. Like I found a good tasting protein
ones.
cookie.
Look at
Yeah, I
who
found
wants
a
to
good place.
share now.
Oh no, I don't want to share. I just want to share the information in case you want to buy your own. These are tasting
Shut
good.
up.
These are
I can't wait
tasting
till we go to Naples again. I can't effing wait.
I wish Naples was cooler. There's Off the Hook and there's like it's still just like it's old people land, right? Like that's
I love Naples.
it's a
I love
retirement
Naples. Well,
community.
I love Naples because of the fact that it's not Miami. It's like chill. It's like go to the beach and chill and hang out. It's not this party town, party city. Like that's what I like about Naples. It's funny because I just had a show recently where somebody was from Tampa, and I go, oh, Tampa, all right. And then she was like, hey. Because this is what I said. There was a couple, and I said, where are you guys from? One of the guy was a boxer, and he was just starting out his career, and then the girl, and I go, where are you guys from? And he goes, Tampa, and I go, oh, Tampa, and then she goes, woo, and I go, really, wooing over Tampa? All right. And then she said, she's like, Tampa's great. I'm like, the only people who think Tampa's great are people from Jacksonville. Nobody else thinks Tampa's fucking great. And then
that's Florida.
there were people from
Jacksonville.
the most Florida. This is the most Florida shit. And then people from Tampa, people from Jacksonville were in the back. I'm going, really? Are you guys thinking? Do you think Jacksonville is great? What do you enjoy about Jacksonville? Going to the beach and seeing the fucking nuclear power plant in the background? Is that what you see? And they all said fair. Like they were no, that's
the fog over there is terrible.
You got to know your role. You know your place in the Florida hierarchy. Speaking of advertisements that fucking work, I would like to present to you with the snack grabber thing that was featured on.
Look at you, X-Men, right here.
For this bag. So it's for when you play video games, so you don't get your hands dirty with bullshit. You reach in.
That's hilarious.
And you go,
oh
Wiki!
my God.
I don't know. And it fucking worked.
Oh, because who wants greasy fingers? That's right.
If my thumb slips off the joystick, I could die.
I know. That's terrible.
We're talking about life and death here. We're talking about life and death.
Oh my God. One comedian, Hennessy Williams, was like, I'm the only black guy that eats chicken wings with gloves.
Uh-huh. There's a guy. Oh man, you guys watch that show Hot Ones?
No, Missy loves it, but I don't watch that show.
YouTube. So it's on First We Feast. It's the guy Sean Evans. He interviews celebrities as they eat increasingly spicy chicken wings. So by the end, they're like, they're like asking them questions about their life, and they're like, "Fuck, I don't care," you know, like they're just like burning up and like super spicy wings. And there was a dude there that was eating them with gloves on, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, that's so stupid. But then after I thought about it for a second, I'm like, that's fucking genius. You know, they give you little towelies or anything like that. You just have gloves on. You're fine. I use gloves all the time. Why haven't I thought about this sooner?
I believe that Kevin James ate them with gloves, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I've only seen a few episodes. Missy loves this, and she's like me every episode. I'm like, I don't care to watch this show. I don't care.
What
I'm
is
not
the
a big
name of the
fan
show?
this
Hot Ones.
It's on
Hot
YouTube.
Ones. Okay. You guys ever do you guys watch Righteous Gems? Do you
No, the
Then-
HBO one. HBO one,
Yeah.
right?
Have you started it? I haven't started it.
I haven't seen it, but I just started Picard. I just started the Star Trek show Picard. I'm not a Trekkie by any stretch of the imagination. Like
But you
that,
are
my
a
nerddom
nerd.
does not. My nerddom does not extend to space.
I
And
don't
He doesn't like Star Wars either.
I mean, I like it now. It's one of those things where it just got fed to me over and over again, and I was like, yeah, no, it's good. I like it. And they're like, what? But Star Trek I was never into. But I watched Picard because for some reason on the ship, the Wi-Fi is wonky at times, and then sometimes it's like perfect, and other times it's like, we won't let you stream this app, but we'll let you stream this other app. And I'm like, what? So I got down to Paramount. I couldn't stream HBO Max, but I could stream Paramount. And then on Paramount, they showed new season of Picard. So I started watching season 1, episode 1, and like with it, literally, I press pause. Within 6 minutes of the first episode, I'm like, I'm fucking in. Like I am in all the fucking way. This show is amazing.
That's
6
funny.
minutes into the first episode, I'm like,
But that's
I'm
funny
in.
because
Let's fucking do it.
Trekkies are. I've heard that there are like people who are against that show because it is like not Star Trek.
Not depicted. Okay.
It's like oh, that's not my Star Trek. Same shit we were talking about that everyone's telling you, oh, you're having fun wrong, or like the people who are super adamant against, you know, that this movie, this Marvel movie or this Star Wars movie isn't the movie that I came up with in my mind. So now it's
my God, I know that happened with my brother and I with World War Z. Did you guys watch it?
Yeah,
Long time
I love
ago.
that movie.
Did you read the book?
No, because I
Okay.
don't read. I'm not stupid.
But I heard the book was really good. I heard the book
The
is totally
really
different.
good. Exactly. But I can appreciate a good movie for the sake of it being a good movie, even if it's not like the book.
Right.
That's just it.
Yeah.
And your
So yeah,
brother
my
couldn't-
brother. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. My friend told me the same thing. He goes, if the World War Z would have been titled anything else, it would have been a great movie. But because
I
it's
know
so
my
different from the book,
brother said the exact same thing. Yeah.
yeah.
We're no longer.
And then
related now.
my logic is that's your fault for reading. That's what you get for reading. That's your
Right?
bad. You ruined it for yourself. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Did
all
you
for
see
it.
Don't Look Up? Did you watch that?
Yeah,
one?
I did see that one. Yeah.
How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, loved it.
I liked it, but I like the fact that it's nominated for an Oscar. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I think that's a little much. I think
Come
that's a
on,
little
like,
much.
we get
I
it.
don't understand. I don't understand because it's not up. Because it's not like fucking pompous and it's not like black and white and in a foreign fucking
It's-
language. Why
it's
is it?
kind of
No, it
up
just
its
had
own
some
ass.
low moments. Like
But
I didn't think it's Oscar worthy.
Yeah, it's not like necessarily great in terms of
I
like.
thought that the performances were fantastic. I thought everybody was super believable. Leonardo DiCaprio was great as somebody who's beautiful and didn't know he was beautiful.
That was really funny. The movie itself had funny moments, and it
He's
was
like,
like
well,
a
I'm
good
good.
movie.
I'm good looking. That's how good of an actor he is. Like, I'm good look. Are they talking about me? I'm like, what do you mean? You look like Leonardo DiCaprio, sir. Of course you're good looking.
People give that guy a lot of credit, but he's like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio hasn't aged. And I'm like,
He's aged.
come on,
He's
you know,
aged.
like he
And
looks
especially when
exactly
he's not in
the
the
same.
He's
movie.
not Basketball Diaries young anymore.
No, but
Come on
when
now.
he's not in the, especially when he's not in a movie, like he lets himself go in between roles, man. He fucking
Yeah.
he's just like he's living his best life. Good for him. That's the way he should be.
That's how I describe my look. Like, Mike, what look are you going for? I'm like Leonardo DiCaprio in between films. You know when he doesn't give a fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
It's
Yeah.
called happiness,
Dating
baby. It's called happiness.
Yeah.
Supermodels.
Yeah, but realistically that movie was fine, but it was kind of up its own ass when it was just like a real ham-fisted satire. Like it was just like, you get it?
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Jonah
But
Hill
it's not
was very
pretending.
much like that.
But it's not
yeah.
pretending that it wasn't. It's not pretending that it was. It was like this is what it is. It's a fucking satire. It's a very heavy-handed satire. And by the way, every single one of these actors is vocal about how much he hates the people they're satiring. And
Okay.
I mean, it's not
I'm
supposed
talking-
to
but
be
as a
It's not
movie
supposed to be
itself.
this like Yeah, as a movie itself, I thought it was great. The
But
acting
it
was
wasn't
great. It made me.
Oscar worthy.
It made me think
I'm with
about
you.
shit afterwards. After I watched the movie, it stayed with me. I was like, oh man, it's fucking. That scene was like I kept. That's a sign of a movie when you keep thinking about it after you see it. Like
I
that's what
didn't
about
really
that
think
scene?
about it. I thought about just the whole concept. Like, oh, what if we
Yeah.
did have what if the
Then you
world
thought
did
about
end?
it.
You know, and what that was
Then
like. What would I do? But
that's
My
called
one
thinking about
thought
it.
was
That's
when I
literally
finished.
called thinking about it.
Yeah.
you're not playing, okay? The way
One
you should
the
be playing.
my one thought at the end of it was like, all right, I get it. And that was it. That was like, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I
right,
get it.
right. It was a yes, agreed. On to the
Uh-huh.
next thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Like if you weren't already on the side of someone that's like, hey, the environment needs to be at the very least acknowledged that is
Yes.
going back.
Yeah.
If you're
Yes.
not already on that side, if you needed that movie to convince you, then
Yeah.
you had no, like
But
who was that movie
I don't
for?
think that movie. I don't think that movie was trying to
Ladder. I
convince
don't know.
anybody. I think that movie was just trying to make fun of the people who don't. It wasn't trying to convince the people who don't acknowledge science. It was making fun of the people who don't acknowledge science. It was for people who do acknowledge science
Right.
to be like, look at those dumb assholes, and we're like, oh, that's great. I'm in. I also want to
Yeah.
point and laugh at the
I
dumb
get it.
assholes.
I get
Yeah,
it.
cool.
That's it. It's like, yeah, I get it. Okay.
Exact
Okay.
period.
Okay. You know what? Okay, you know what I did see that I really liked. It was on our 2021 recap of top 10 films of recap. Because I've been going through the ones that you suggested. We did this Grace last episode or two before. Which one was it? That
Yeah,
we do our
episode.
annual top 10 of the last year's movies.
Okay.
And you had West Side Story on there. And I watched
not.
West Side. Or it was on
Stein.
the show,
Stein
but
had, yeah.
Stein had West Side Story, and it was good except for the two people who were the leads. Literally everyone else in that movie is great except for the people you're supposed to care about the most.
Mm.
Like all of the supporting characters were good, but the movie itself was like real, like super solid and incredibly well done. But it was like, again, the whole time I was like, okay, I get it. That this side character and this supporting character and this other person, they're amazing. Rita Moreno, amazing. I love you. This person, great job. And then the lead actress and the lead actor were on screen, and I was just like, I couldn't give a shit.
Gotcha. So what movie do you like?
I had it.
What's the
I
movie
had.
you
I
like?
haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen West Side Story? Well, there was the
No,
other.
and
Oh,
then you
and
went.
I saw Boss Level.
Yeah.
Did you see?
Fun.
Was that the one that you recommended? Boss
Me
Level
and
with
Stein both
Frank
love that.
Grillo.
Yeah. Both
Mm.
both Stein and I both talked about it. Yeah.
We watched
Barely did not make our
everything,
list.
Grace. We there's like at a certain point we just become a movie podcast if we would let us.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys see I'm Dying Up Here?
No. What's
I'm
that?
dying up
It's
here.
not a movie, it's a show. It's canceled already, but
Oh,
it's
is it
based
about
on
the
stand-up
comedy
comedy in like the 70s. Yeah.
yes.
It's actually
I
very good.
know.
It was because
No.
the thing is, Crashing had this like crossover with like, because Crashing was the Pete oh god, what's his name? The guy from whatever. But it was like like one stand-up comedy show. It was like when 30 Rock and then Studio 60 and the Sunset Strip, like those two
Okay.
shows about Saturday Night Live were happening at the same time, and one of
Okay.
them was serious and one of them was funny.
Yeah.
That's what this one was. This was the serious one, and then there
Okay.
was the funny one about stand-up comedy. And I remember seeing it and I was like, I don't care. I don't want to see it. I don't care about how it was in the 70s. It's not like that now. So
Like the Richard Pryor. What do you mean? It's so parallel. It really
I mean, there's Neri is legit frozen. He's probably so mad that he can't talk.
Oh, I thought he was really just thinking about what we were talking about.
Nope, there he is. He's gone.
I was like, he's never been so intrigued about anything
No.
I said.
Right, yeah. I mean, the fact that he hasn't interrupted. Well, you watched that show thinking that's it? That's what it is?
Well, no,
Or is
I
it like,
live it. I live it.
right. But you're
like, yeah.
seeing yourself in what's there around, like I did not have that experience. Like I understand, like the stand. Ironically, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel does a really good job of showing like
love
writing
that show.
material, like
Mhm.
where they in the first season where they show her bomb, doing the same shit she was doing before, and then she's like, why didn't that work? That to me is one of the most realistic comedy things ever shown on TV, where
Right.
she has to work on a material. And then like there's a lot of the stuff that you see like on these shows it's like people who already made it talking about that part where they're just about to make it, but not like it doesn't really reflect, like it doesn't feel right to me. Maybe it's because New York is different than down there, and it is very, I mean, it is absolutely a different vibe when you're like doing New York doing comedy in New York. And even then I can't say that I fully, because I haven't been past it at the major clubs, but there's no real road work unless you start booking yourself outside of the city. In the city, it's all like people who are here, you know? So all of this stuff kind of feels a little different, especially when people come like in I'm Dying Up Here. They told me the story about this guy who finally gets on stage at the Comedy Store, and then he kills himself because he made it. And in my mind, I'm like, what? I heard that and I was like, what? That's the ticket to the next step. You know what I mean? Like that's, you know, was that really all? Like what are you talking about? You know, like it didn't.
Yeah, but
it didn't make
I feel
any
like
sense.
it highlights the, you know, like the bureaucracy in comedy, all of the, you know, the people dating, the drama, the this, the that, you know, what you have to deal with before you go on stage, how you have to like turn on that switch. I mean, it's to me, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is great. It's just at a different point in time, and it's coming from a perspective of a woman, like a divorcee, right, who had her awakening, and now she wants to be a stand-up comedian. This is very much like, you know, the Richard Pryor era, but I feel like when you watch it, you can pretty much put yourself in any one of those people's shoes. I mean, minus the person who's a heroin addict. Those are just strictly for the heroin addicts, but you know,
I mean, Neri froze again. The fact that Neri can't interrupt us, it must be driving him crazy. It must be driving him crazy. He's dying up there.
I really I love the fact that you know him so well.
Yeah.
And because I know him well, so this is great. This is really great.
When you started in New York or in Miami?
In Miami. I haven't gone to New York to do comedy yet. I'm actually at the edge of my seat trying to book a flight to see where I can like schedule a week's worth of room.
Good
luck.
I don't want to sound like a shithead or anything like that, but unless you have someone already going to bat for you to book something, they love out of towners, so you might get it. So like if you're like, I'm in from out of town, but they're all bar shows. If you can get booked at a club, good luck. I mean, like great, the Caroline's, New York Comedy Club, Broadway, maybe. Don't do any bringers because those are all just a scam for the bookers.
Grizzly Bear.
The Grizzly Pear. Yeah, New York Comedy Club, Grizzly Pear. There's a lot of those little smaller clubs that for sure might get you, because they love out of towners. But the second you move up here, you're no longer a novelty. You're no longer like a new voice, because what ends up happening is a lot of comedy circles end up just booking the same people over and over and over again.
Yeah, same in Miami.
And especially now that COVID fucked everything up. All of the people who were here pretending to be poor moved back with their rich parents, and all of the people who could stay, like they kind of, the demographics all changed, the hierarchies all changed. And now that I was literally trying to get back on stage more recently, I have no idea. You have no idea who to talk to, where the shows are, and there's no real centralized like hub.
Yeah.
That there used to be. Yeah. So you can probably find mics anywhere, but the getting booked, like, I mean, look, the fact is that a lot of clubs outsource their booking to other people, and then it's hard to know who's doing what when. So but again, like what you're talking about in I'm Dying Up Here, the bureaucracy, the gatekeeping, all of that stuff,
social hierarchy, you know, that is like, you know, people are making it up like to the top because they've socialized their way up there, you know, not necessarily because they're very funny, you know, but they just know a lot of people, and people are booking their friends. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So. And imagine, so like, I'm also a SAG actor
I started dabbling into acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm in SAG, and I thought when I was down there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going on auditions all the time. I do this stuff. I get sent out for Latin market. I got sent out for Latin market shit all the time. When I moved up here, I'm like, great, sure, I'll just do that, and I'll make money, and I won't even. I'll just be in it, not realizing that that's literally what everyone else is trying to do.
Yep.
So you are now, you were Big Fish Small Pond.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Now you come up here and you're just, and in Miami when I was, I'm 6'4", I was a big guy. I mean, I am a big guy. In Miami, that was a big deal because there wasn't like, there was like 3 guys and I knew all of them because we'd all be in the same auditions. Like, I'd just be like, I was like, oh, you're reading for this too? They could literally go to any one of us and neither one of us would get mad because we're the 3 dudes getting these roles.
Right.
And then when I moved up here, all of a sudden being tall means nothing. I had a big beard and that got me work for a little while. Just doing background. I couldn't get one audition.
Oh, so wait, like looking white doesn't give you anything?
No, they want people to look obviously something. There's plenty of white dudes up here. There's plenty of
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
No,
relax.
He doesn't like those. He's
like, I'm not privileged. Stop.
No, I am cloaked in privilege. The reality of that also got me bumped off of a Hispanic show. It got me bumped. It's like, oh, the last thing we want on the poster is another white face. And I'm like, I'm Latino. I am what your show is promoting. I am that guy. And they're like, oh, well, it's again, all of the hoops you have to jump through. But in New York, it really humbles you really quick when you're like, oh, you're not special. You're literally just everyone else that's doing the same thing. And it's some people don't get past that block because it's like, oh no, I'm special. My mom told me I was talented,
Yeah.
Like,
where in New York do you live?
I live in Queens. I live way out in Jamaica.
Well, you guys have one of like the best pizza spots. I can't remember the name.
Who knows? There's a million of them. And is it like everyone thinks there's also, oh God, what was the joke? The original Ray's Pizza. There's like 9,000 Ray's pizzas and they're all the original. No, in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's like the original one is like by Penn Station or something like that. And you had to go like look for it. But yeah. Are you back, Neri?
No, I've been back. I've been hearing even when you guys were like, he's dying to cut in. I'm like, not really. I'm like, you guys seem to be doing fine on your own. It's good. It's all right. It must be killing him.
I'm sorry. It's a New York thing.
All right.
I'm like,
step out then.
Enjoying it.
Peace. Yeah, we were having a good conversation.
Yeah, this is part of this is what part of the podcast is. Like, people having a good conversation. I don't have to partake. I could just listen. I can listen.
When was the last time you performed?
I did a show at Dinosaur Barbecue at a barbecue place.
Okay.
And that
Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed.
No. I'm not ashamed because I got a free brisket sandwich. That was dope. But that's how it is, You know what?
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at the fact that I've been fat for so long doing comedy that's how people used to try to pay me. They're like, "Well, we're not paying, but you could get free food." And I'm like, "No, I don't want that. I want money."
I found out.
How about
you don't
you
have
give me
any
money?
bland peanut butter cookies. I don't want.
How about you give me? No, this is prior to. Again, this is only. I've been doing comedy 18 years. My whole no carb, no sugar thing has been 11 months. It's not been a thing. So for 17 years, it was we're gonna pay you with food, and I'll be like, how about you just give me money and I'll go buy the food my fucking self? Like, how about we just do that? Like, you just pay me.
I have a question. So if the producer is making money, so like if the guy putting on the show is making money, do you think that money should go to the comics?
This is a phenomenal question. You know why? Because Grace is a fucking amazing producer of comedy shows, and she puts on dope ass comedy shows. So she would be the person to ask.
The short answer is yes.
Right.
I feel like you give value to your performers and you work for it. You work for it differently. You have a little different, like you're getting something, even if it's $10, a scratch off ticket. But the shows I produced, I mean, the last one that Neri was on, it was a Funny and Spice. So we took over the improv kitchen.
Oh.
And I hired a chef, and we catered the food like a la carte, very like Caribbean style cuisine, and it was great. I mean, But yeah, I paid you, so
Yeah.
Well, it was at a club.
No,
The
I
show-
and what I told Grace is because Grace and I are friends, I was like, Grace, you don't have to pay me because she had so many comics on the panel that night, way
Yeah.
too much. Something that
I
she
know.
has something she has since said that she learned from that not to have. You shouldn't be having 9 comics on a show. And then, but she paid every single one of them. And I told her when I saw how many comics she had on the thing, I said to her, Grace, you don't need to pay me. You don't because it doesn't. Because we're friends and this doesn't, it's fine. I'm not starving for money right now. I have other gigs that pay me. And Grace
Yeah.
still was like, no, I'm gonna pay. And she literally said, I pay everybody that does my shows. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like that logic is rare, but it's great, but it's not
Yeah, it's
normal.
the
That
only
was
way to
the-
change the culture that this is a profession, right? You get paid for everything else. So yeah, the short answer is absolutely yes.
I was really bummed because I was like, yeah, I just got booked the show and everybody was on the show and it was fine. And it was the first show at this new place because everybody's kind of starting up again after COVID and they reduced some restrictions up here. And like Florida never had any restrictions at all, apparently. Like they were
we
just,
did.
No,
it was like
we did.
the Wild West down
Did.
there.
No, 2020 we
did.
did. We did.
Yeah.
20 didn't.
But what I'm
2020 we
saying
did.
is, as this is now opening up, there's like, oh, so these people that I know, that they produced a show, and they always, like I've been performing on their shows forever. We're like buddies and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, I guess we're all just doing the show and great. Oh yeah, I gotta say. And then I saw the manager of the restaurant hand them an envelope of cash, and I was like, huh. So like I understand it, like, hey,
Exploiting, really.
I mean, it kind of like it rubbed me the wrong way, and I was genuinely like, good to be back. Good to be back.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
if you're gonna
yes.
do 5 minutes, 5 minutes on a smaller barbecue show, maybe a beer, okay, like a drink ticket. But if you're,
I
at the
mean, I did
Miami
15
Improv,
minutes. It was a show. Like it was
Yeah,
booked
yeah.
as a show, and it was booked. It wasn't like an open mic, or it wasn't like, hey, come and we may
Right.
put you on. Like I was booked.
Yeah.
I was on the flyer, and then it was like, it was just like it just kind of like leaves a bad taste in your mouth as like, what would you, like when I had an improv company with my friend Chris, and we would do improv shows for charity, and everyone who performed ever got paid. It was percentage based. Profit sharing. It was a third of it went to the charity, a third of it went back to pay for the expenses of the event and into the business and us, and then a third of it went to the performers. So it got split, and whatever it was, if it was like everybody gets $5, everybody got $5. You know what I mean? Like we didn't make a ton of money. It was all based on donations and things like that, and whatever we sold, etc. Whatever it was, somebody got handed at the very least a form of gratitude and monetary compensation. And
the way we circumvent it is tip shows. We put a tip jar, and that way we split the pot on top of whatever $10 you may get from the actual producer.
It's such a bummer too, like it's always like, oh, I didn't realize you guys were like that. Okay. And then the next day, oh wait, no, I guess that wasn't the last show I did. The last show I did was in Near's Tavern in Queens, which is the bar from Goodfellas, where the guy gets tabbed, go get your shine box. It was at that bar. And it was like a real fun show for the locals. And that guy gave me $30.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like just for, and I wasn't expecting anything from him because I was a last minute add-on. And he's like, hey, thanks for your time. Here you go. I was like, get the fuck out of here. This is great.
Did you tell him to go get his shine box?
Bro, I love like that. It's a shitty bar, but it's just funny that's the place where they have this weird comedy venue. It's really funny. It's fun that there's a million of those landmarks.
Funny how?
Funny how?
Funny how?
No, you said spider.
That's good. I like that. Funny how?
Do we have a Am I the Asshole, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, I forgot to pull it up. Hold on.
So, Grace, every episode we do Am I the Asshole? We read an Am I the Asshole? Are you aware of the thread, the Reddit thread, Am I the Asshole?
Is it kind of like douche or no douche?
It's situational. It's like presented in a way that someone will here. I'll read you some of the titles here.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for not telling my daughter I'm aware of her lifestyle until almost a year later? Am I the asshole for supporting my son and wanting to go no contact with my soon-to-be ex-wife? Am I the asshole for how I'm treating my daughter? Lots of stuff like this.
Okay.
I like the second one. The second one.
Oh,
about not talking to my ex.
Hold on.
I
I'll
like to
sort
pick the
by
ones
comment.
where it could be because at the end I'll give our opinion on who we think the asshole is
Right.
based upon what's written, not based upon what we assume. And I like to pick the ones where it could go either way. It could be like, there's argument to be had. There's a conversation to be had both
Right.
ways.
Yeah.
Am I
Okay.
the asshole for laughing in my ex-boyfriend's face after he threatened to not sign the birth certificate unless I agree to give our son the name he wants?
No.
Well, now there's the story. Here we go.
Well, that's just the title.
That's the title. I, a female, 30, broke up with my ex-boyfriend, a male, 33, after I caught him cheating on me with our former upstairs neighbor. It happened when I was 4 months pregnant with our son. This sudden change made my life difficult, but I'm in therapy and I'm preparing to be in my best state as a future mom. My ex-boyfriend wants to be involved, and so far I've tried to establish a good co-parenting relationship for the sake of my son, despite my ex being difficult. The naming topic came up, and we disagreed on so many names. We finally reached a compromise and found a name we both agreed on. However, his new girlfriend didn't want the name, saying she felt uncomfortable with it. My ex-boyfriend came to tell me this, and I demanded I agree on the name he and his girlfriend chose. I said absolutely not, and suggested we try again to find a name we both. This is written terribly. Suggested we try to find a name we both, not her, but we both, as the parents, agree on, since his girlfriend has no say. He got upset, and we had a fight, during which he threatened not to sign the birth certificate unless I agreed to let our son have the name him and his girlfriend chose. I laughed in his face and told him to go ahead, because if he decided to refuse to sign the birth certificate, then the naming process won't be the only thing he has no say in.
Oh,
Yeah,
you are
good.
not the father, she said.
He lost it. He lost it and started calling me some choice words like petty and crazy, then left. The texting hasn't stopped, and I'm currently being scolded by not just him, but his family for being stubborn and making things hard for him and pushing him away, and threatening he won't be a part of his son's life nor get a say in it. Is this person the asshole? Grace, go.
No, absolutely not. I would understand if she was trying to, I don't know, give the baby her last name instead of his last name. Whatever, which is still I'm on the fence about that anyway. However,
Interesting. The last name.
Yeah, so I had this whole thing, like, if I marry someone, he's gonna have to take my last name because I'm not giving it up. But I'll hyphenate it, I feel.
Sure. My wife didn't take
People
my name.
No? Is your last name
No.
Markable?
It's Mercadal, but it's
I was like, your
This is
mom had a sense of humor because
no. That's from the. I just copied it from the captions that it gave because I thought it was funny. But no, that's not my
got
name.
it. Okay. No, it's not your kid. You don't have a say. You know what I mean? If parents can't agree on it, you don't want to sign the birth certificate. I mean, that's on you. That means you can't fly with my child. You can't be a part of his life legally. That's a stupid move on his part. And that's his new girlfriend getting in his head.
Well, we always say that if it's gotten to the point where you're writing an "Am I the asshole?" post, that it's already bad. Like it's the situation has gone so far that you're asking strangers on the internet. You're like, if you're there, an asshole. But I love the fact that the balls on this woman, the new girlfriend, to be like, I'm uncomfortable with the name. Like, who gives a fuck, bitch? What are you talking about?
I have questions. My question would be: is the new girlfriend the girl from the upstairs?
Yes, I would like to know that as well.
Because if that's the case, then she has even less fucking, ground to there's even less ground here on her part. She doesn't have any, but I feel as if the way this guy is approaching this, it's like that line from, I believe, Pulp Fiction, where he's like, some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That's from Blade.
From Blade, there you go, Blade. And yeah, so this guy cheated, as Yolanda is clearly pointing out here. Oh my god, he cheated. Fuck him. I like the fact that you cheated when your girl was pregnant, and like there's so little ground for you to fucking even have. Just be grateful that this chick is literally saying, "Let's come up with another solution." The fact that
Like
she's even
the fact that
inviting
she's
you into that
talking to this
situation,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, you want to talk to him. That's the father of your child, right? You want to keep the peace. You want to like co-parent and have a functional
no, right.
ish
That's what I'm saying.
household.
But he should feel grateful that she is taking that approach, that she's taking that
Yeah, let's
what's
meet
it
in the
called?
middle kind of situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Like
other,
the
yeah,
fact that
yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah.
not, the fact that she's like, because she could have very easily been, and I'm not saying it would have been right, but I'm saying it could have very easily turned into a, you cheated on me, so therefore you have no say in nothing. She
Right.
could have
She could
gone
have
that
been
route, but
vindictive.
she
This
She could have
didn't.
been
is
She went.
vindictive.
She's trying to be responsible. And
Yeah.
she's trying from what she posted, because you know it's only one point of view. But from what she's posting, she's trying to be
Right.
responsible. She's trying to be like, okay, let's meet in the middle. Where we're co-parenting, and by co-parenting I mean me and you, not the fucking girl from the upstairs.
Right.
Yeah.
That I assume is her. So
Well,
he should feel grateful that she's not that she's not being petty.
the
Because
ex-boyfriend is clearly a man who has overestimated his position.
mm,
He
Sure.
has, yeah, he is literally like Anakin is like, I have the high ground. Like you are in the lava, baby. You're about to get your arm and leg sliced off. You are her. You are not in a position of power in any way. You're like the fact that he's like, I'm issuing an ultimatum because it's like, okay,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
only hurting
bye.
yourself. You're only
Yeah.
hurting yourself.
You know?
And I honestly, but I find that to be something, and this kind of triggers me a certain way because I find that there's a large percentage of men, right? But people in general, but men who don't know how to put another woman in their place, in her place. Like they're too, if they're married or they're in a relationship, they don't know how to like give their current person um the place they deserve.
What is that?
So
In what sense?
in what sense? Like
the guy should be telling the girlfriend, "Shut the fuck up. This is the mother of my child. So therefore, she fucking. This is the name that we picked out. You have no say in the fucking name of our child.
right.
Period.
It happens
That
on
should
a
be
on
it.
a on a lower scale. Say you're at a bar, you're with someone, and there's a girl who's flirting with your person, with this guy. He's not going to be rude. So he'll probably take the flirtation or take whatever, while maybe the girl is just kind of like waiting for him to just like, this is my girlfriend, you're being rude. Because I feel that men just, I don't know if they plead the fifth for convenience, but and you're married, you both are married.
Yes.
So if a
But
woman
you
came
want
on to you, would you be willing to just tell this woman like, I'm married, leave me alone? Or would you just take
not right away. Not right away. Just let it. I want to soak it in a little bit. I want to be like, hey,
You know,
Well, you want to have ground.
you know,
Sure.
hey, Papi still got it. All right. And then after a while,
Okay.
and then when it gets to be like, hey, you want to get out of here? Be like, can't. But this was nice. I
Yeah.
appreciate this, but
Okay.
no, this is, but realistically, I mean, I'm just joking around and trying to be funny, but no, I think the fact that I wear a wedding ring lets people, the fact that I go on stage and only talk about my wife lets people know what's happening. Like I don't really,
Well, I think she's talking
I'm a bit
about
naive.
not that.
Yeah.
I don't think you're
Yeah. I'm a
talking
bit
about that
naive.
scenario.
Well, I'm a bit naive in the sense of when somebody is hitting on me, I just think people are being nice.
That's
That's
the thing.
That's
True.
because
Okay.
I'm nice, and I'm like, I don't want any, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just because I'm nice to somebody, I'm nice to Grace doesn't mean that we, like, you know what I mean? So it's not like there's plenty of women that I'm nice to that I don't want anything from, like, any or anything other than just conversation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm naive in that sense. When they're like, she was hitting on you, I'm like, what? No, she was, unless they're being
There-
blatant, then it's like, hey, get the fuck away from me.
A long running thing on this show is I hate double standards when it comes to gender, and I hate that, like, because we talk about stories about like how women flirt is like literally just straight up sexual harassment. Like I've had girls take stuff off of my face, my glasses, my hat. They've reached and touched my jacket. They've grabbed my, like I had a girl put her hands in my pockets one time, and I'm like, hey, if I did that, I'd be getting the cops called on me. You know what I mean? Like.
Mm-hmm.
I do, like, so I have a big thing on that sort of thing.
But also, you didn't stop them
because I am 6'4" and I had to tell the girl. So thank God a friend of mine was over there, because the second I react, in like an aggressive way, like, hey, get the fuck
Right,
off me.
exactly.
Boom,
You're the bad
I'm
guy.
the bad
You're the bad
guy.
guy. I know,
Right.
but and I understand that. I
So
understand that. But
wait. So
again, there's ways to say that.
but wait, so there's a certain element of like when a girl is flirting with me, it's like, okay, but what is she like? There's nuance to it. If someone's just
Yeah.
having a conversation with you, there was a big pendulum swing where I would go up to someone if I wanted to talk to a girl at a bar and they'd say, I have a boyfriend, like right away. And it's
Mhm.
like, wow, fuck you. I was just saying hello. All right, cool. I guess, you can't have a conversation with anybody. But which is they're allowed to tell me to fuck off. I'm not saying they're not.
Right.
But am I
Wait,
supposed to do
real
the
quick,
same thing?
real quick. Have you seen a video? Have you seen the video where the guy goes up to the girl and goes, "Excuse me, missus?" She goes, "I have a boyfriend." And he's like, "You're like it was in a car. It was at a red light."
Yeah.
He's like, I have, and she's like, he lowered the
you're
window,
gas.
like he's telling her, and she goes, "I have a boyfriend." And he goes, "Okay, I was just telling you that
You're
you have a
gas.
flat tire." And then
Oh.
she's like, "Oh my god, can you fix it?" And he was like, "Why don't you tell your fucking boyfriend to fix it?" And then he
Yeah,
drives
yeah,
off, and I was like, "That's perfect." That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
just,
mean-
but yeah, I get what you're saying. But here's the thing, Mike, you're talking about like people actually physically touching you. I'm just talking
Well-
about people having a conversation.
Well,
So
here's
that's
the
my level. That's how naive I am.
Right,
I think
right.
flirting is just having a conversation.
but even just having a conversation, there are times when I get like, if I try to talk to a random person, even now, like if I just say, hey, how you doing? Sometimes people will assume that it's flirting.
Right.
Like it's such a weird dynamic now, like
Mhm.
where, oh God, who was it that was just talking about it on a podcast? I can't remember what her name was. But it's a New York comedian was on a podcast talking about how that they're like, oh, I want to meet someone in person. And I'm like, ooh, but you've really, and the guy on the podcast was like, you kind of stacked the deck against you to meet someone in real life, because for the last, I don't know, 5-10 years, all men have heard is don't fucking bother us when we're out having a good time. Don't talk to us when we're, having drinks with our girls and all that stuff. It like genuinely there's like a lot of that anti, like, leave me alone, don't catcall, don't try to talk to me. And it's like, or how are you ever going to expect to meet a person in real life if like there's so many guys out there who are like, oh well, I'm just not gonna do that then. I'm just, you're not gonna talk to you. And then
Grace is one. Grace, I would love to hear the thought process behind, because Grace is a comedian who sees a lot of people out in public at shows, after shows, and I know her, and I have talked about the scenarios that she's had where guys either don't approach her or approach her based upon her stand-up or shows where she's like,
oh, interesting.
or they get
Yeah, they don't. I actually on
they don't, they really don't.
They don't.
That's what
They
she told
don't.
me.
They
They don't approach her.
They
And I
don't.
was
It's
like,
very
what?
weird. I mean, I have had a few, you know what I mean? But I would expect more. I see a lot of women approach men. And I mean, Ali Wong had a great, this special wasn't her best, but I feel that she was pretty much, her special was geared towards comedians. And you have like, the chuckle fuckers, you know what I mean? And which you have the reward for men in comedy a lot of the time is the fact that these guys are not seen until they're on stage, and that's kind of very alluring to women, and that's the reward. They get that attention. For women, it's like, oh my god, if a guy comes up to me after a set and he wants to talk to me, he's a psychopath, because did he really liked everything I said?
What
You know
a
what I mean?
bar
Like,
to have someone have to get over.
But that's kind of just that's the culture. That's the culture here. I had a guy on Friday at a show, and he was a drunk man, but a tall, he was like, I don't know, maybe like you said 6, maybe like over 6 feet, and he shoved me. And he's like, I thought you were the best. And I was like, yes, but don't put your hands on me. And then he's like, oh, and then he tried to make conversation. He was slurring a little bit. And then he went to do it again. I had to put my hand like directly like in his sternum so that he can understand. You can shake my hand, but I'm keeping this space.
Yeah.
That wouldn't necessarily happen to a guy, I think.
Well,
You
here's
know,
the thing.
I don't
wait,
know.
Here's the
actually,
thing,
yeah,
here's the thing. I will say this. It's absolutely happened to me where people put their hands on me to congratulate me in a positive way. However, I don't see it as anything other than annoying.
Yeah.
Because I'm
It's
not
not a
because
threat.
I'm Yeah, because I'm not threatened by them. So I could totally. It's so funny that you said that because as you're saying that, I'm like, oh man, that just happened to me last week. I was on a cruise ship, which by the way, I'm an employee of the cruise line at the moment I'm on stay, and they come up to me and they're like pushing me and like, and they're like grabbing my collar and like, you were hilarious and all this stuff there, and I just found it super annoying. Where I was like, hey, dude, get off, come on, man, chill, relax. But I didn't find it physically threatening because I'm a dude, and it's so funny because as you're saying this, I'm like, man, women really do have to operate on a different level. Like you don't like that's a thing with you where you have to, for your sanity, both mentally and physical, you have to see him as a threat. Like you have to be like, hey, fucking back off. And I was just like, oh man, he's annoying. You
Whether
get
it's
me?
intentional or not, he could
Oh yeah,
be.
correct.
You know what I
Like,
mean? Like
but
he's still a
you guys
problem.
you guys got to deal with shit that guys don't have to. And I like that's like it's
He
it's
also
you
had that
just
like
educated me. You just shown a light on something that I totally for years, 18 years I've been dealing with that and I've never thought twice about it. And the moment you said it, I was like, oh man, that is true.
what if you
Fuck,
had a
women really got to deal
vagina?
with that.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Oh,
mean?
then I would
Where
never. Then I
now
wouldn't
you're
be on
like
stage. I wouldn't leave my house. I
safety,
wouldn't leave my.
safe.
I wouldn't leave my
Well,
Hello, OnlyFans. Here we go.
well, no, it's fine. It's not like anyone's gonna talk to you anyway, so it's okay.
That's so
No,
true.
but it is.
Yeah, I love when people go, "What if you had a vagina?" It's like, "Oh man, I'd be such a slut." Like just because you have a vagina doesn't mean you'd still look like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still
So
look
am I
like-
still
Yeah.
6'4", 260? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, if I had a
He just
vagina,
had
I would still be a bald chick with a
Yeah.
vagina and a beard. Like that's not attractive to people. Like that's not gonna happen.
The
he just
truth.
had that old man strength, you know, and like when he shoved me, I was like, whoa, whoa,
Oh no, it
whoa.
totally makes sense.
You're
Grace.
right.
No,
I'm
you're
giving you
absolutely
credit.
right.
I'm totally giving you credit. Like I'm saying, you shown the light on something that I never even thought twice about. But you are absolutely correct. That is absolutely a threat, physical threat to you. And he doesn't understand it because he's a dude and he's stupid and he's drunk. But he doesn't
Yeah.
understand. He doesn't understand. He's not computing me touching her like this is threatening her safety. It's putting her on high alert because he's used to doing that to guys, and guys only see him as annoying. You get me? Like you are
Yeah.
completely in your right to feel the way you felt. That is like like I'm as you're saying, I'm like, oh fuck.
It's also the
I mean, listen,
familiarity
I
that
was flattered, but I'm not gonna lie.
it's also the familiarity that people have with you once you're on stage, that they think
Yes.
that you're my friend now, and it's like, man, I don't fucking know who you are.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
are
yeah.
you like get it? Who?
I don't-
They're like, hey, this is a guy, and I'm like, oh, thank you. And then they're
I
like,
had
and
I had a woman and her daughter, which her daughter was like 20 something, walk into the gym of a cruise ship because the gym on this particular cruise ship, on that particular cruise ship, because I'm not on it now, you could see from you could walk as you're walking on the outside, you could look in and see the gym, see people working out inside,
working out.
right? There's like it's all glass panels, it's all, and they saw me working out, and because I had a joke on one of the shows about when I first got the job offer to work on cruise ships, my wife, my then girlfriend was like, I don't know if you should take it because they have a lot of food on the cruise ships, and if you're gonna be working on cruise ships, you should go to the gym every day that you're on a cruise ship. Now the joke is hacky and it's like, oh, I'll go to the gym. I'm not gonna work out, but I'll go.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole fucking premise. That's the premise of the idea of the joke.
I'll take a look
And
around.
because I did that joke, and to be fair, I wrote that joke probably 7 years ago when I first started working on cruise ships, 6 years ago. And when they see, I had these people 2 weeks ago walk into saw me working out from the outside. They went inside, walked into the gym to tell me, "Oh, you're working out because your wife told you have to work out." Like that was the extent of like, because I did a dumb joke on stage 3 days earlier, they found the necessity to walk into the gym while I'm working out. And I had my headphones on, and they're like, take the headphones off. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, I didn't know what was happening. Just to let you know, we saw you working out. So, if you want to tell your wife, we'll tell her that you were working out. And I was like, that's how far you went for this shit?
It's like,
you did all
you
of
get
that?
the joke?
Ha.
Ha ha.
Jesus Christ. I'm like, oh my goodness. All right. It's not even a great joke. I hate doing that joke now because I like working out now. So I fucking feel really bad about doing that. That joke I wrote it 5 years ago, and I'm like, I don't want to do this joke anymore.
Yeah, you don't want to give, now that you've lost all that weight, you're like, I don't want to give her any credit because it fucking worked.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was me, I'd be like, are these people following me? Like what?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah, no,
happening?
And that's I've had a conversation with you, Grace, when you said something about walking to your car after a show and you're walking with another guy comedian, and I'm like, man, I never fucking thought twice about that. Like I never in my mind, never in 18 years of doing stand-up did I think, how am I gonna get to my car? Who am I gonna walk to my car? Like I never had that thought in my mind, and you have to have that thought in your mind. Like, that's
when
something that has to happen.
when my wife first moved in with me here, I remember one time she was out with her friends and she came home late at night and took the train and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. She walks in and she was like a little upset. And I was like, oh, hey, did something happen? And she's like, I mean, I just ran here from the train station. And I'm like, did something happen? And then she's like, well, how would you know if like you didn't even like check on me? And I'm like, I don't walk around
Yeah.
New York thinking
Right.
about that in any way. Like
Because you're
I'm
6'4".
the
You're
guy that
6'4".
people avoid. Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
like, which makes me sad because I'm like, hey, I love talking to people. I'm not that
Yeah,
guy, but also like,
you're the reason why your wife was running. You're the
yes,
reason why.
I'm the reason. And then I felt bad. So now, like, whenever she comes home late at night, like, I'll go to the train station to pick her up, or I'll meet her wherever she is, and we'll come home together. But because
And that's why you're married.
well, I mean, also,
Also,
other
he
reasons.
cooks
loves you.
really well. Also, he cooks really well. So that's the thing.
I am the
He can make
cook
a-
in my family.
he-
Fuck
Yes,
your
that's what
gender
we just
roles.
said. That's what
No,
we
I
just
don't
said.
believe in that.
I'm agreeing
was-
with you. I'm talking to the imaginary people who would disagree with you.
The food tastes better when he cooks it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's true. Like I didn't think about that. And then I had like that's one of those things where that was a realization here when I realized, oh, I am the guy that is either the problem or the solution when something goes down. Because I'm just the biggest body in the room to kind of either deflect or to like stop something from happening, which has happened on the train a few times. And I like on a handful of times in my years here, I've had to do something, but never. I always talk about when I first moved up here.
My favorite, Grace. Mike once told a guy to stop jerking off on the train.
Yeah. And then like I walked into a train and then like you could feel how it's tense. You walk into the subway car and it's like too quiet. And I was like, uh-oh, something either just happened or is happening. And I look over and there's this guy like at one end of the train car or like literally like right to my right as I walk in, jerking off. And I worked in an ER for a long time. That happens. People will be jerking off in the bed and you have to like, hey. So I literally was like, hey, put that shit away. Take it out. Knock it off. And then the guy, like, I guess realizing that he's not invisible was just like, oh, and he just goes off into the next car, probably to jerk off in there. But then everyone had like a moment of realization of like, oh, yeah, I didn't know we could do that. And I'm like, no, I can do that. I can do that. Like I like you couldn't. You have to have. There has to be a risk of some sort of physical threat for something to like have any kind of weight, or
Right.
at the very least a camera recording you or whatever. If it's
Right. I was going to say that.
Yolanda says, "Let's back up. How come your dad, talking about Mike, never cooks for me?" Well, Yolanda, this goes back to what we were saying earlier. He's old.
He's old.
And and back in the days,
man,
they
I
had
love my
these dumb gender roles. Back in the day, they had these dumb gender roles where only women can cook and only men could go out and make the money. And stupid
Men
shit
are
like that,
victims
where
of
it's
the
just-
patriarchy too.
you think I wouldn't want to cook, but no, I can't because I'm not allowed to because the patriarchy makes fun of me if I do. So therefore, I don't.
You know what?
No,
This comes around
I'm
full
the one
circle.
that I actually iron. I know how to iron well. Like you know what I mean. You press your clothes, or whatever. And my in-laws were over for Christmas, and they saw me ironing my shirt for a show. And they were like, "You iron?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Do you like to iron?" I'm like, "I don't fucking. It's not like, oh my god, it's my favorite thing, but it's
Yeah.
not like I don't dread it." And they're like, "Oh, I hate ironing." And then they got on my wife. They were like, "Why don't you iron your husband's shirts?" And she was like, "Why would I? He knows how to iron. Why would I? Like, I never even
Because he
thought
has
about it."
hands? That's
Yeah, I was
why.
never even in all the years that I've known my wife. I've never been like, "Yeah, why don't you fucking iron my clothes?" I've never been that guy. I'm like, I know how to iron. I have hands. I could go iron. Like, I've never even thought about asking. I was like, I'm gonna go iron. And it's a whole fucking thing. Tony said,
coming-
"Thanks,
Thanks for the help. Yeah, sorry, Dad. Coming full circle to the am I the asshole about like the parenting rights and all that stuff. Like this motherfucker is on one side of the scale, but also like I'm child free. I don't want children, and my wife neither. So, but there's a lot of pressure on all the stuff that's going on with abortion, where it's like to imagine if there's a reason that the shotgun wedding exists. A guy gets a girl pregnant. The father holds a shotgun to the guy's back so that they force the marriage on him. And then it's like there's a whole generation of men who could have had children that they didn't want, right? Because they were forced by the obligation. But that's just because women couldn't do anything without their husbands for so long.
Right.
They couldn't have
Well,
bank
'cause we
accounts. They couldn't
lack.
own property. They couldn't do any of
Okay.
that stuff. Imagine
Yeah.
if you could. No. I'm talking about legally. I'm not talking about
Legally,
as a
yeah.
as a gender weakness. I'm talking about
No.
men
Okay. Yeah.
literally put women in a position where they couldn't vote. And then when they could, they
Yeah.
couldn't own property. And when they could own, like we put them in. So there was no alternative to men being in charge of the financial responsibilities. Do you know how many I like that one of my bits about like being child free is like if love produced children, there would be 3 people. You know what I mean? Like if every kid had to be on purpose, there would be like 5 of us. You know what I mean? Because there's so many times that their obligation and the feeling of all of that stuff. Imagine you're like obligated to raise a kid now, and you're just like, ugh.
That's
That
funny
kid's
because
not
I'm
gonna
one of 8.
right.
So
Well, there's a tons of accidents.
only
around-
maybe like 2 of us were loved. I know.
Who knows how many?
Well, I was
If at
on
all.
purpose. I was on purpose because my birthday is in September, which is 9 months exactly away from New Year's Eve, and everybody looks to have sex on New Year's Eve. So I was
Who
at
made
least
up that bogus story?
Of course, I made up that
Get
book.
outta
Of
here.
course,
The
I made
sex
that.
was on
Get
My
purpose.
birthday-
outta here.
Yeah, the sex was. I was
Shut-
purposely the it was planned. I don't say it was purpose. I don't say the pregnancy was purpose. I said the having
sex
sex,
was
was
planned.
planned. The sex was absolutely planned by at least one of them, and I know it was my dad. I know like it's fucking New Year's Eve. I'm gonna get laid tonight. That's a guy
Drunk,
thing.
Mary.
That's
They
a
were
guy.
drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Your
course
mom
they were
had poor
drunk. Of course-
judgment. Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm the youngest of 9. You think do you think there wasn't alcohol involved? Goddamn right, there was alcohol involved. What? Yeah.
But imagine this dude who thinks he has all these rights over this poor woman he just happened to get pregnant. And then that's because of that old school thinking of like, well, you can't do anything without me now. Like, and it's still that way in a lot of places. But like, fuck this guy because he's living in that old thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, and like the reality of the gender roles and all that stuff, we fucked it up for everybody, for us too. Like we made it bad. Like the men
Right,
made
because
it
now
bad
you
for
have
men
to make
too.
the money. Now you have to feel the pressure of being the provider and not being maybe a stay-at-home dad or
Family
you know,
courts lean
right.
dramatically in favor of the mother all the time, like the majority of the time. And it's like, yeah, we did that to ourselves, you assholes. Like
Yeah, but
we
you know who didn't lean towards the father? The judge in the Kelly Clarkson case. Shout out.
What happened?
Kelly Clarkson was going through a sloppy divorce, a messy divorce. Her husband was also the producer of the Kelly Clarkson talk show, right? When they went through a divorce, he sued for alimony.
Sure.
Because he was used to and accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And let me see if I got because I texted this article because I was in shock that he got awarded this much. So it took like a year. I don't know the exact amount, but it took a year. He is getting, get this, $1.3 million a month.
A
in
month?
alimony. A month. A
What?
fucking month. And he won. Like he won a thing. And I saw that and I couldn't help but be like, go ahead, King. Get
But that
yours.
just
How
goes to
much
show you
is
how
the
much
judge getting paid to do this? To say that? He's
how much
being
does the
paid off.
Kelly Clarkson show make?
That's what I'm saying. Kelly Clarkson must
Wow.
be banking that much money because they only do it based upon a percentage. It's only
American
a percentage.
Idol Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, the other
Well-
Kelly. Yeah, of course. Kelly.
Well, no, I mean like Kevin Federline and Britney Spears. You know,
But he doesn't
also-
get alimony. But he doesn't get alimony.
I'm
He
sure he
does, I
does.
think,
I'm
yeah.
sure he does. Of course.
Oh,
he
you
does.
know
He's the
why?
father
Because
of
she
one
was
of
in
her
that-
kids.
Two. Both.
Two.
Both of her
They have
kids.
2 boys.
Because of the conservatorship, I think the conservatorship was paying him off. I think that so I think that money train is about to stop for him. But yeah, man, Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband is 1 point, but at least Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband can claim, hey, I was the producer of her TV show. Like I helped her amass
Yeah.
money. Like I wasn't just some fucking pretty young thing sitting at home.
A backup
you know,
dancer.
Yeah.
trying
Yeah,
to-
you know. So,
Yeah,
but
okay.
when I saw that 1.3 million a month, I was like, what the fuck? It was
That's
bonkers.
That's an insane amount of money.
It said Clarkson
month?
would pay. Oh no, wait. No, it says Bland will pay Brandon Blackstock over $1.3 million plus. I'm sorry, I didn't. I let me correct myself. 1.3 million plus monthly spousal support. So she's paid. So he won
He gets a
1.3 million
chunk.
in the divorce, and now after the 1.3 million, he will get paid $45,000 a month. So
Oh, okay, that's a
the
little
1.3
more realistic. I was like,
so the
1.3 million a
1.3
month. What the? She's not the queen
uh,
of pop. Like,
the
how is she?
That's gonna destroy the economy.
Right? How is she have more money than the Saudis? I like. How is that even? How is this bigger than oil money? I need to get on this. Wow, that's terrible.
But
That's still a lot of money, though.
Yeah, but all of this boils down to like the system is corrupt. The system's fucked up. We fucked it up for everybody. And now we're like, now when there's, oh, we want equality. It's like, well, what does that even mean? So it's like,
I know.
how do we balance
Where's the line?
everything?
Yep.
Where's the line? Because then it boils down to like social, like physical social safety. Like whenever I see a video of a like it happens a little bit too much online with there's a little too much glee when I see these things posted, but it does bring up a good question of like I saw a video of a woman bullying a girl bullying a boy in school, right? And the girl is literally physically assaulting this boy and no one does anything. And then when the boy fights back, he fucking cleans, and the look of shock and awe on the fact that this boy would retaliate was appalling to the girl. And then everyone in the room is like, what the fuck? And everyone starts going at the defense. And then it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. She assaulted him first.
How are we dealing? Yeah. The law does not specify gender when it comes to assault. It is a blanket statement definition. It's not about which gender is doing what. So there's a social structure built in that again is a problem.
It's a stigma.
I don't agree with it. Like, no. I also don't agree that we should be hitting anybody, but there is a social force field that this girl had that she assumed was all powerful, that guys can't hit girls. So I'm going to be able to do this without any repercussion. Nothing will happen to me. And when the guy broke the social contract and defended himself, straight up, like he was literally being straight up assaulted by this girl, and he fucking Dexter one. Then all of these men in the comments are like, "Oh yeah, equal rights, equal lefts. My fist bisexual," like all kinds of shit like that. Where it's like, hey, I get it. Nobody does, but the only one that is valid is nobody did anything until the guy defended himself. Like nobody stopped the initial bully.
Right. Yeah, no, that's wrong. That's wrong on all counts. That is wrong on all counts. I did see a girl put a kid in a chokehold in a jiu-jitsu class, and she put him to sleep.
Yep.
And she was worried. She was like, "Oh my God, did I kill him?" And then he woke up like, did I win? You know, but it was like, I don't know. Point is, you should have put him in a chokehold instead, and then just like let it go. But
the point is, there's some in like, what do you call them? Objective truths that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there's certain truths that if you go to hit someone, that you have to at the very least not be surprised. If some not even expect it, but just don't be surprised if there's some sort of
retaliation. It's just a natural consequence of
I mean, right? Like if like that guy who put his hand on your shoulder, like, hey, he didn't know what he was doing, but you had every right to just fucking haul off and be like, hey, don't touch me. People who don't want to be touched.
Right.
And he would have been shocked. Oh, I was just being friendly. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's hard to find the balance, but like it's definitely one of those things where it's like, we have to be, if we're going to be equal, we have to be equally accepting of reality. That's really what it is.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Absolutely. Where'd Neri go?
He's out. There he is. Do you have kids or no?
No.
Okay.
Not married, no.
And you're not married, no kids.
No.
Good. Keep your money. When you
I don't know. Being married looks better on your taxes. It's helped. It doesn't it?
I don't know yet. I'm new.
How long ago?
February 9th.
God.
We just got married. So we're still I did my taxes for last year when I was single, and I guess the truth will be revealing itself to me next year, but we'll see.
Is she also in comedy?
No, she moved up here. We're in that process of like reevaluating our dreams, where the
So you gonna quit
reality.
comedy now?
No, but it's really pivoted to streaming, to online stuff.
Yes,
Like
yes,
it's really
yes, yes.
pivoted, and I'm doing a lot of stuff with this D&D club where there's like this whole like network of things that I'm doing. Like I've recorded one thing today and I'm streaming again in the afternoon. I'm doing a thing tomorrow that's paying me. So it's like,
Okay.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
But there's also like as soon as I started getting back out there to do comedy again, I got faced with this producer being kind of shady. And I'm like, "Fuck, I can't get away from the feeling,
Right.
She I'm pushing her because she put all of her acting stuff on hold. She wants to be an actress. And I would like to motivate her to do, like, now that we're together, the financial constraints are a little looser. The time constraints are a little freer, like a little less. Like, use that time, go, like I want to support you in doing all that stuff, and help you with self-tape auditions, do all that thing, all that
Yeah.
stuff. I still
Do you have
pay
an
for my.
agent?
No, that's the whole. I lost my agent when I moved up here because apparently I thought it was like basketball where they would trade me to another team,
Right.
and it is not like that.
No.
It is not like that.
No, I'm in the process of getting one, but I'm on like Backstage Casting Networks and just
Sure.
networking with other actors to find out who their agent is and trying to get a referral
Those
that
are the
way. But
rules. The actors access is a good one. But even then, you're in Florida, and Miami is like the city from Pinocchio. You remember in Pinocchio where they go to that island and everybody gets turned into donkeys?
we're all
That's what Miami
jackasses.
is to
Yeah,
me. It's just
absolutely.
all of all of these vices, and everybody has access to all of this joy. But if you try to live there, you're gonna turn into a fucking donkey.
Yeah.
There's so many. The deck is stacked against the people there. From the outside, it's hard to like navigate. I'm sure everybody just lives their life and all that stuff, but like wages and all the money stuff.
Yeah. So did you live in Miami before?
30. I was born and raised there.
Okay.
But it's like I'm a big leftist, pinko, not communists, all this
Same,
socialism, all that stuff, right? I believe that we should all not die because we can't afford a doctor.
Of course.
Basic shit.
Of course.
Miami apparently does not.
Yeah.
Miami, everything in Miami, you hear like horror stories. And why did I
There were
bring
some
that up?
people from Canada that came to a show, and I was like, "You guys left universal healthcare to come here for what?
Yeah,
For what?
the weather.
But
I will say
the
that it's been
weather.
snowing. It just snowed again. It's. I thought we were done with this shit. It literally snowed yesterday. I was like, no, I can't move back. But it is hard to. It's hard to find a footing in Miami if you don't already have a connection or something
Yeah, it's
like
a
that.
social ladder that we're climbing here.
And the illusion of opportunity is there. So like there are no real big productions like SAG productions in Miami.
No.
And
LA,
those are the money
New
ones.
York.
Actually,
Yeah.
the Atlanta is a great
Right
place to
now.
go if you want to go to
Yeah.
want to go. I have tons of friends that are there right now doing stuff, non-union, of course. So that's the question: is it like worth it? But
Yeah.
but that's the truth. Like the Miami has the illusion of all of these industries and all this stuff, but it's hard to really make headway because again, it's small pond, real
Right.
small pond.
Right.
Do you? So you're trying to get in? Do you sign up for everything? Do you do background work? Have you done anything like that? Are they shooting
Uh,
stuff down there?
right now I've been casted for the short film. We're gonna shoot in Seattle though.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like a pandemic kind of short film, like a friendship founded during the pandemic. So there's a lot of this like virtual. I don't know. There's a lot of tech work that I'm doing to shoot me on Zoom with these other actresses.
Oh, got
You
it.
know what I mean? And then we're doing the in person in Seattle. So
Gotcha.
that's also something very new
So,
for me.
but are they shooting like? Let's say when I was down there, I would be able to do background. I actually I got SAG through Burn Notice.
Oh my God, the show?
Burn Notice. Yeah, I was on Burn Notice. I was background a bunch of
Awesome.
times to where they were like, we
Yeah.
can't use you anymore. You have to audition for real shit. And then when I auditioned, I got a thing, and that's what got me into SAG. But
Awesome.
that's a big production. That's a SAG production there.
Yeah.
And they were shooting. God, what's that show in Netflix? Bloodlines or something down in the Keys. There was like a couple big, like genuinely big productions going on.
Yeah.
Are there any of that now?
No, not that I've been privy to. No.
You don't see it on casting networks or anything like that?
No. There's a lot of
what a
like music
bummer.
videos. There's a lot of commercials. I'm really trying to get into commercials because it's what pays the most.
It pays if you're SAG. I did so many non-union commercials, and what they do is they shoot like 6 or 7 commercials in one day.
Yeah.
They produce only like 2 or 3, and they air only one. So
And residuals.
and you only get paid for you don't. You get paid for the one. You get paid for the shot, and that's it. You get paid for the day, and that's because non-union contracts are like that, and they're terrible. SAG really does. SAG commercials are. I had a SAG commercial, Latin market, not even like American market, basically saved my life up here. I made like 20 grand off of one commercial in 2 years, and it was like, it was like, it was all luck. It was pure luck. Though that's the stuff that it really bums me out that down there they kind of it sucks that there's nothing down there because you'd think it'd be perfect, like for shooting things.
Yeah, lifestyle shoots, stuff like that. Yeah.
You'd think it would be perfect, but either way, Neri's out, and I guess I'll wrap up the show. I actually can't end the show. We can just leave the studio, but I can't actually. I'm not logged in to close the show.
Got it.
All
right. Well, we'll hope that no one's.
Well, we'll just keep talking.
I was going to say something about the train station, but.
Oof. I mean, the ship. I don't know what to do here because we are going to be live forever.
Can you text him?
I'm trying to now. Yeah.
Okay.
We can't end the stream. We'll see. I don't know. So what's up with you? What more can we talk about?
What more can we talk about? So we agree the girl is not an asshole.
Okay. Neri says he can end it, but he can't. Yeah, the girl is definitely not. The girl's definitely not an asshole. The guy is deluded beyond all fucking measure.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, and then that girlfriend, the new girlfriend, can fuck off. That lady is nuts. Neri can end the show, so I'm just going to assume that he will do it at some point.
All right.
I'm on here. You just can't see me apparently. Okay, great. Thank you everybody for checking out What's Up, Bro. You can catch us at WuBro Pod on all social media. You can donate money down there. You see that little WuBro Pod. Follow me at Mike Marketall. Follow at Neri Signs or whatwashisname.com. And your socials are OG Comedy.
Yes, sir.
Like it says right there.
Yep.
Grace
Victoria.
Victoria, not Valentina. Victoria. Yes. Grace Victoria, are you performing anywhere you want to promote?
I'm at Art Serve, which is a show in Fort Lauderdale on the 15th, and I have a couple of shows at the end of the month. But you can follow me on Instagram because I post all of my flyers there.
On the OG Comedy on Instagram.
On the OG Comedy page. Yep.
Perfect. Listen to all the other shows on the Geek Bro Network, geekbro.net for Pero Let Me Tell You, Childlike at Best, Mount Geek, more Kick Flicks. We got more Kick Flicks coming at you soon. And we have, what was the other one? Shiver Pod. And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on there. Go check it out at geekbro.net. Thank you everybody for watching. We're just going to wave until Neri rescues us from being online. And we are trapped.
Yeah. We're the lifeboats. He's on the ship. We're just kind of like, all right.
Bye. Hello.
Okay. Oh, I do want to plug in my podcast, The Grace Period.
Oh, The Grace Period.
The Grace Period. The Grace Period. Yeah, it's coming out. So I'm very excited about that.
Okay. And so they can the Grace Period on any social podcatcher platform?
Well, right now it's on YouTube right now.
Oh,
I'm trying to get, yeah. I literally just started.